All right, welcome to the first installment of Whiskey and Wisdom. She's not a big whiskey drinker, as you can see.
So, smooth.
Chase it with your Capri Sun now. Anyways.
No shame in my chase game.
So this Whiskey and Wisdom, we're going to do a little Q&A. We put up
some questions on our Instagram.
Mm-hmm. And we got some good ones, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So thanks for the questions. We'll get right into it. Our first question is, how long have you been training? I think this could go two different ways, so we'll do both. Personally, I've been training at the weights for around 30 years because I started when I was 13, 14, and then, I don't know, I trained a lot over all kinds of different things, for sports, powerlifting, small amounts of Olympic weightlifting in there, and then now training for Highland Games, which kind of brings the two together, powerlifting and a lot of my sports training, because that's very explosive type training. And then Highland Games, we're going to our fourth season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so about 3 off seasons we've had, and I don't know, that's definitely been challenging and fun. So yeah, so 30 years in weights and 4 seasons or 4 years with Highland Games.
Yeah, we're going into our 5th one.
Oh, good.
For me, I've been training in the gym probably since sometime in high school. I feel like was when I started going. I was a Zumba girl, and I feel like that counts as training.
That's how I found her.
Training to fight zombies.
Training to fight the 80s.
So that, yes, anyways, I did some weight training, strength training, but started probably, so yeah, like, I don't know, 10, 15 years, and then trained for Highland Games, same time frame.
Although you did some powerlifting training.
I know, the question was how long, not what type of
training. Oh,
training.
yeah. Well, I just threw that in.
I mean, if you want to know all the types of training I've done.
No.
So many, I couldn't even name them all.
Okay. Next question. I see a lot of Highland Games programming incorporating Olympic lifts for power work. What do you do? Okay, so I do see a lot of people that train Highland Games train with Olympic type lifts.
We'll answer this separately.
Yeah, for sure. I'm saying this will be mine. So I involve some of the movements of Olympic lifts. I've done a lot of, like I said, Olympic lifting, or not a lot, but I mean, I've trained with it in the past. And it's very technical movements, so I'm not trying to injure myself because I'm not trying to be an Olympic weightlifter, but I am trying to be explosive. And I think there are parts of Olympic lifts that you can use, and then they'll translate over into Highland Games. So I do a couple movements out of Olympic lifts, but a lot of my power work is, again, going back to my powerlifting training, where I train, high intensity at a high percentage of my 1 rep max, and then, bust that out for either singles, a couple singles, or, very low reps, probably nothing more than 3 reps to work on my strength. And then I follow that up with usually a lot of muscle building protocols, which would be more along the lines of bodybuilding or endurance, which translates over into Highland Games. So some of it is endurance. But I put together a couple clips that I'll show a few of the explosive movements that I use, and then you can see a ton of power movements on my Instagram because I've trained a lot of that.
For me, before this season, I really just kind of trained more like powerlifting style, what I was used to, bodybuilding. But this season I hired a coach, shout out Nicole. She's awesome, and she definitely has me incorporating more Olympic lifting than I've ever done before, like snatches, cleans, and she's easing me into it because they're hard to do. If you don't know how to do them properly, they're not the easiest movements to get down with the timing and technique. So that is definitely a major difference to my training. and so far so good. We'll see. We haven't done a competition this season, so I don't know yet how it will translate to my throws, but I have a feeling it will. Also, feel like we're supposed to take a shot before each question, so
It's just a sip, but
I mean,
I've been just sipping along the way.
I've been taking shots.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Good luck. Watching you take your sips of whiskey though is fun, and you're chasing it with your Capri Sun. All right, next question. This is a good follow-up to the last question, what kind of explosive movements do you train that translate over into the games? So again, Olympic lifts are excellent at building explosion, but like I said, I only use parts of them. So I use like snatch high pulls from like mid-thigh, and then my other explosive movements are single leg explosive movements. So I put together a couple clips of us doing some of our things.
Yeah.
But mostly, like again, almost like a step up jump, or that's a good explosive one. Or I'll use like a Bulgarian setup and I'll do like a jump lunge off that. For my upper body, a simple plyometric push up to a box, and it doesn't have to be very high, are really good. In fact, make sure you catch yourself when you're doing those if you do them. But again, I put up some videos from this, and then you do a lot more, I think.
Yeah, I think so. That's one thing also that I feel like Nicole has me doing a lot more is trying to be explosive with all my movements. Push presses, sorry, the whiskey. No, I'm just kidding. Push presses, like all that stuff at just lower weights and more intensity, more explosiveness throughout them. So, and I feel like actually there's like a lot of the movements that you're used to, you can make them explosive. Like you can lower the weight instead of going for more like absolutely. A max effort and be more explosive with your lift,
I mean, you said a good thing in there, which is intensity. No matter how you're going to train, or what movements you're going to do, train with intensity, and yes, at a lower percentage of your 1 rep max, or whatever your heavier weight is, so you can move that weight explosively and then slowly build up from there. Yeah, like even like front squats are, I mean, I can load that up pretty good, but she has me sometimes just doing literally the bar, or and just being as fast as I can explosive. So there's a lot you can do with. Yeah, when you're training, again, if you're training high intensity, low percentage of your 1 rep max or heavier weight that you use, you're going to be able to move the weight fast. That's the whole key, is moving your body explosively fast, high intensity. I definitely, when I train, let's just say, slower, more controlled on my descent. And then when I push on the eccentric part of the lift, I'm trying to move it fast and with force. So again, no matter what you do, training fast will definitely translate over. But be able to be controlled with it too. There's something to training too light to where you're out of control then with it. For sure. So again, stability is part of all this, but those are our explosive movements that we do. What's your split look like in terms of hitting lifts and throws in a week? Again, we own the gym, so we're a little spoiled there, and I'm there every day, so I train every day in some form. So I'll just break it down like this. Monday, I usually train upper power movements. So again, I'm going to a heavier rep or few reps at most. Usually it's a form of like a bench press, an overhead press, or an incline press, and those translate obviously into my stones and I would say even into caber to some degree and stuff. Again, having a big strong upper body. So Monday is that. We usually don't throw on Monday at all. No. Tuesday, I usually train my lower body. Again, this is explosive. All my lower body movements are explosive now. A lot of unilateral movements, movements or lifts, so individual legs. We usually, if we're gonna we'll throw wob or sheaf on Tuesday at our gym, because we have a big outside and we're lucky we have the over the bar implement for us. So wob or sheaf usually on Tuesday. Wednesdays are usually a back day for me, so kind of like a bro day where I just try and build muscle and size. So again, Wednesday usually we'll go to throw at the field, and for me, I usually pick like one implement out of each to throw. So again, usually it's like open stone or Braemar, or sometimes I'll work up to an open stone for just a couple, Braemar stone, and then drop down and work more on my open stones. Or maybe I'll work up to my Braemar, throw that more, and then just do 1 or 2 kind of open stones. And I alternate those, wherever I feel. Stones are my kind of my good thing, so I put work into them, but I don't put a ton of work into them. I usually train. Again, then we'll go into weights for distance, which usually we both throw lightweight for distance. I don't throw a whole lot of heavyweight for distance, but when we do it, again, we'll usually work on one, take a couple throws with the other, and that's about it, type thing, and then vice versa. And then hammers.
Yep.
We usually do those last, or whatever. I guess it depends on what we're trying to work on, which one we're doing. But again, a few rips with the heavy hammer, and then usually a few more with the light. And if I'm usually gonna take any extras, it's usually with the light hammer right now.
Yeah.
Then Thursday, again, usually I'll work an explosive upper body movement. So again, pushing the weight intense, fast, moving it fast. That's upper on Thursdays. Friday is kind of just like a lower body or a mixed day, like core and lower body stuff for me, if I can get it in on Fridays, which if I don't lift on Friday, I'm not too worried about it. And then we usually, if we can, we might go throw on a weekend day.
Yeah.
But again, it just depends on weather, schedule, all that.
Yeah, I would say, if switch over, I think we definitely don't usually throw more than twice a week, sometimes just once a week. But if we throw twice a week, I'm sure there's times we kind of do a back-to-back, maybe a Tuesday, Wednesday, but we try and do like maybe Wednesday at the gym and then a weekend at the park, or if we have to do a Wednesday at the park, then maybe on like a Friday we'll finish with sheaf and lob or something. So yeah, I would say as far as a split between training days, throwing days, for me, I do 3 days of training, and then I do 2 days, try to do 1 to 2 days of throwing.
Next person, what could you use for a good substitute to throw for learning weight for distance? Good question, because there's probably not a ton of things out there. I'm going to say, I went out and bought a Cerebrus bag, which I'll link them in the bottom. And it's pretty cool. It's got a really thick handle. That's the difference on it compared to an actual weight, is the handle's very thick. But it's awesome because you can load it up with whatever weight you want, which is cool. And I loaded up a little heavier actually than even my heavyweight. So I like to throw with it, just because of that. It actually slows me down and gets me to hit my timing marks good. So again, that's a Cerebrus bag. But other than that, I've seen people practice with the large chains, I personally haven't done it, but you could hold, put a handle on one end of a chain and like a big thick chain. We have 22-pound chains at our gym, and so we could probably do it with that, and that'll kind of help work on your timing. I think the main thing is just working on your timing, being long and loose with it, and hitting your marks with your footwork.
Yeah, so, for me, I'll say the big difference with the Cerebrus, is that what it's called? Bag? Is just the weight distribution is so different than a weight. So like I feel like a chain almost would be better because you get that kind of elongated like weight that you're used to having at the end. The Cerebrus bag is obviously bigger and bulkier, which you would never throw a weight that was that size or that weight distribution. So obviously I think it's the closest substitute, but the timing's a little different, and you're still gonna have to make adjustments when you get to a real weight, but it's probably the best thing you could use.
I have seen an indoor hammer ball, basically. So track uses hammer, and it's a wire hammer, or there's a short hammer, which again, it's like a ball encased in like straps, and then it's got a handle on it, and that might be cool too. It's definitely shorter than what we throw, but again, I could see it being something to just train with. So those are a few things. But
I would say, I also think if you can go out and get a weight, if you're planning on training, if you can get a weight and train with it, that's going to be the best,
And we'll eventually put together a video with all the implements, so you guys can see them and their weights, and then hopefully where you can get them from too, because definitely took some finding.
It is tough to find the equipment, the implements. So
look forward to that video. All right, next question. Best tips for learning to throw weight over bar. Good question. I think we'll actually put together a technique video on this, so I'm going to just kind of do a few.
It's a little tough without visuals, I think.
I agree. But you know, if you watch us through it, I kind of come out to the front and then to the side. I would just say start from the front and get used to being nice and tall with it. And as the weight comes between your legs on the swing you're going to pull and throw with, is you want it to get as deep as possible, okay? And then you're gonna straighten up basically on your, you know, toes, try and straighten your legs a little bit while you're bent over. And so you're nice and long, and then it's almost like you want to push with your butt, push the weight down with your butt as you pull, okay? And then it turns into kind of like a high pull. So, and you're basically triple extension, you know, hips, knees, ankles all extending, and you're letting go of it, you know, up in the air, arched back.
I would,
Go ahead.
sorry,
Yeah.
I would say probably the biggest tip, because obviously I'm still learning, you know, but the thing that everyone will tell you, and it's just so true if you can get this tip in your head, is don't pull the weight. I think that a lot of people try and do that when you're bringing the weight in between your legs and you're kind of anxious to throw it. It's like you almost want to wait a second longer than you think you have to let that weight drop and then pull, because when you yank on it, you're cutting off so much of that power, that the momentum that the weight has. And then this second tip is that deep reach, which I actually took out last season. I stopped reaching because I was actually finding it better to come in a little more shallow and pull up for me. And then as I kind of got that down and the timing down, then I started the deep reach again, and that was when I hit my PR. So those are two tips. So deep reach and just waiting for it.
I like your one. Don't be anxious with it. Let the weight get back there. Otherwise, when you go to pull, you're actually going to pull and kink kind of the weight. Like there's going to be, it's going to be loose. You want it to be kind of nice and taut at every position. You don't want it to, you know, be flopping around, because that's going to take power.
Will be easier over video.
Definitely.
One more though, which is like, this is a mistake I make, but a lot of people make it too, is early release, and then you're not getting the weight over the bar, the whole point of it. So I like to, when I do it, I try really hard without pulling it and going backwards, to like really make sure I'm finishing like behind, or like stopping at my ear, right? Because you have this natural instinct to feel like you're done with it here, and it kind of goes up, and then you're not getting that
you're
arch.
out in front, or you got
I
a big
always
arch.
think like up to the sky. That's like my last cue. I tell myself, I go up to the sky, and I try and go and look, you know, as I'm going. I don't know.
It's good. It's good. That was a good one. So again, we'll put
We'll
together
put it in a video.
A video for that one.
Oh, Mom's getting drunk tonight. Probably had way more of this Capri Sun
Yeah, I'm sure.
than anything.
Okay.
Best flavor, Pacific Cooler. Capri Sun sponsor us.
I mean, I'd prefer.
That would be great.
I would prefer if McClellan sponsors us.
Listen, well, I don't know. Both would be pretty great, but yeah. Capri Suns and Capri Suns and Capital. No.
Right.
You have like a money channel.
Kilts and Capri Suns.
Oh my god! There you go.
Okay. Okay. This one says not training, I guess, but what mobility routine do you follow for day of games?
None.
That's one way to go about it. You don't see no freaking jaguars stretching before they go kill, right? Okay, so over the seasons or years of Highland Games, I definitely have involved it more. You know, in my warm up, I used to kind of just get out there and, you know, do the bro stretches, which is just me being lazy, because I come from a very athletic background, you know, in a lot of different sports. So I know a lot of good movements and ways that I should be warming up, and I've definitely tried implementing them more. Stretch your lats out. So get on a fence, get pull. Everything is long and loose, you know. So again, the tight you are, you know, you're not gonna be able to get as long, and that's where the leverages play into this sport. So again, long and loose. I grab a fence or something, tree, branch, anything, and stretch my lats out. Try and be long with them, get as long as possible for my upper body. A lot of my lower body is, you know, explosive, you know, not static stretching, okay? I'm not sitting there, you know, holding my toes for 20 seconds, you know. I like to be intense, so some great things would be like some jump skips or some power squats, you know, jump squats. Those are good for the lower body. I like to do, my son's been doing the ladder now, so before warm-ups, if he's out there, I'll go jump in with him and do that, which is good footwork moving, just get your hand-eye coordination kind of working together. But my typical thing is either a little jog around the field just to get my heart rate going and up, and then after that, it's, again, a few stretches for upper body, tricep stretches and lat stretches. I usually bring a band with us to the games, and we'll use that to work out some stretches, or again, get some mobility going, which with the band they do like around the worlds and stuff like that to open up my shoulders. So a few of those type of things. Again, I can probably put together a video just on this if you guys want it.
Yeah.
Let me know. But yeah, think high intensity, lower body, explosive movements with just your body weight are going to be great. Upper body, I like to stretch, be more long and loose with that. So, throwing is good.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't do a ton of mobility stuff. I think I'm usually pretty like antsy on game days. So, I mean, I definitely probably will do some of the same stuff. Like maybe I'll do like some jumping jacks or like some skips or whatever. Walking around, walk to the bathroom and back about 5 times.
the nervous
piece. Yeah, but I mean, I definitely try and incorporate more. I mean, I do think some of that just comes with like, to be honest, obviously I'm still in my 20s. I think when you're younger, like definitely I did not stretch out at all when I was 20, 21, 29 now.
I don't think anybody figured out you were in your 20s by drinking the Capri Sun.
That's right. No, I'm being serious right now. I think, yeah, definitely as you get older, you start realizing, okay, some of that stuff is going to help. It'll make me feel a little bit better during the games. But I'm also going to be honest, even when I don't do a ton of mobility, I'm not sitting there feeling it yet. So I just think I'm just be honest. But a little bit of movement around, yes, not static holds and stuff is good. But
sure.
Yeah.
I gave you the whole breakdown if you want to do it. I'm going to say if you pick one thing to do, just warm your body up. Like you said, like she said, jumping jacks, go for a run.
The nervous,
yeah, it'll just help with some of that stuff too. If you are a person that gets big nerves before a competition, which you kind of should.
You should tell. I don't know. The games where I forgot my name. How to spell my name. That'll be a story for another time.
Yeah, but I do feel warming up helps calm some of those nerves. So if anything, just get yourself warmed up. But yes, think being long and loose, explosive with your lower body.
Yeah. Cheers. There's so many questions.
Last question of the night. Who/what was your inspiration?
Oh, I can go first.
Yeah.
What was your inspiration? I mean, I guess, are they asking regarding to like Highland Games?
I guess we'll make whatever we want of it.
Oh.
So we have the camera and they don't.
It's a tough one. I mean, I guess I'm gonna answer this as if you're asking me in the Highland Games, since that's what this is related to.
I would assume.
Okay, so then I'm gonna say, I mean, this is a tough one to pick because I think there are so many people that I look up to in this sport. Well, I'll name 2. I'll say, Nicole, my coach, there's a reason why I hired her. I think she's such a badass. She's incredible. She competes in both lightweight and masters, and she's definitely in the open. Like, she's incredible. And total goals. So yeah, she's definitely an inspiration. I love watching when she does all her games and everything. Another one I'll throw in, God, there's so many. I was gonna say when I did my first games, I competed with Michaela. And she broke the hammer record, and she's like, it was one of those moments where you're like, I don't deserve to be in the presence of you. Like, why am I here when you're here, And she's always been like, that was my first person where I was like, holy cow, she's a lightweight, I'm a lightweight, she can do that, I want to do that, which I think inspired me to be better. But yes, obviously that's a hard question. There's so many girls that are so beautiful and wonderful and good at the sport, so many.
So I don't know, what was your inspiration? I don't know if I have a whole bunch of who's as far as this question. Who's my inspiration in this sport? Well, there's plenty of really good guys. When I first saw, I think it was the heavies and Daniel McKim throw. I was definitely inspired by him. He's a big boy and man, did impressive things. Matt Vincent, I'm inspired by just his entire career. But in his Highland Games stuff, he did great. I mean, watching Spencer now currently, and a lot of these pro guys compete is awesome. I guess actually there are plenty of who's. I mean, even down to new kids like this kid Aaron that I went against last year. I mean, he's amazing and going to do great things in the sport.
Yeah.
So yes, all those people inspire me. So I would just say, as far as the who, it's the competition of it. The actual, like, I see myself, like, even though these guys may be pros or they compete in men's A, which is more like an open, and I compete in masters, which is 40 plus. They're still, the sport keeps records. I'm inspired to win and to go get those things because that's just how I've been my whole life.
And I think you're the type where you wouldn't set a limit. You'd be like, okay, if I'm competing against those guys, I'm going to try and hold my own and do.
Absolutely.
For sure.
I mean,
I think you get driven by that competitive spirit for sure.
But I mean, what my inspiration is, that's like I said, that's going after the big events. Like, again, I really want to win the world championships. And really want to win Pleasanton when I go there, and obviously ultimately it all comes down to I think for both of us, our son, he sits and watches a lot of our games. So I just hope I inspire him not to have to ever do anything in Highland Games if he doesn't want to, but just whatever he does to do it at his best, because that's how I always see myself. Like, if I'm gonna do something, I'm doing it 100% of what I can give to that sport, and
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, just one thing that that I don't ever want to see, or I hope people don't do, is it is a niche sport, and so they're like, oh, what is this? Well, to me, it's my Super Bowl. When we go to games, I have fun. I get out there and I compete, and so I just want, like I said, my son to look at whatever he does. If he plays the piano, I want him to look at that like it's his Super Bowl to him, to do it at his best, to reach the pinnacle of whatever it is. Because, I think, why do something if you're not going to fully get into it, love it, or if, why do something and love it and then don't try and go for as much as you can.
And I think what's so interesting, we totally have this is a big difference just in our relationship. We have very different ideas of maybe success. I mean, we're similar in a lot of ways, but we have different ways we define success, different ways we go after things, And I think for me, totally, our son is such an inspiration for us to do this. But I think I see it also in more I like that he sees this sport that we do together, that our family can go do, that when we're doing this, we're getting to travel, and the better we do at the sport, the more we get to travel, the more places we get to see.
Yeah.
And I think he sees us doing a thing where, let's be honest, we're not making money from it. We're not doing it for anything other than the love of the sport and being able to do it together. And I think it is similar to what you said, but I want him to feel like he can do anything. It doesn't have to be for money. It doesn't have to be for fame, for success. It can purely just be because you love a thing, And I think when he sees us doing that, hopefully, as he gets older, I mean, at 8 years old, he's like, "Woo, you're flipping logs," but
he does want to get out there and do it.
No, I know.
Too.
What I'm saying is, right now, he doesn't see that this is something special we get to do with our family, totally. And I think when he's older, that will be something I hope he can look back on, So.
I mean, I even think all the way down to this channel, we're doing this because someday he'll get to look back on this, and we'll look back on it even, and just be
and
like,
all these
man,
memories and fun
this was cool, and we did something, and like she said, we're not making money off this, and it's fun to.
But you can change that by hitting subscribe. Hold on, I'm just kidding.
We're really doing. It's just it's fun to hear the crowd cheer, for anything you do in life. It's always cool to get that that applause from whatever it is, but there's so much more to it. Even the athletes I coach, I tell them enjoy the little things, because I feel like I went through my career so fast, and I didn't enjoy all those little things, those little moments that you have, and now it's just trying to remember them, parts with my teammates and stuff. I don't know, and hopefully this technology we have today, and how long it's going to be around for, is
such a special thing.
I just think take advantage of that, and I hope he sees it, and I hope he'll look back on it, and it'll inspire him to do whatever he's doing in his life at that moment to do it better.
Absolutely.
So
yeah,
cool. That's a good one to end on.
Welcome to Whiskey and Wisdom, baby. Or we can do that differently. Welcome to Whiskey and Wisdom. Oh, fuck, that was bad. Okay. Welcome to Whiskey and Wisdom. I think the first one was fine.
Well, it is
We
now,
can cut
that's
all
for
this.
sure.
Welcome to Whiskey and Wisdom. What?
Wisdom? Oh, God. You haven't even drank anything yet.
Okay, so this
What? Can you get the intro right?
I thought this was.
I'm gonna have to piece it together letter by letter out of your mouth
Okay.
at this point.
Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. We are doing. Why are you looking at me like that? Okay.
Are we gonna try this? Or you got it?
I think I got it. Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Here for the first installment of Whiskey and Wisdom.
You don't get a cheers.
Are you started?